Hello and welcome to my channel, Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is October the 20th, 2022. And I'm coming to you from a little town called Chatham in southwestern Ontario in Canada. And if you don't know where that is, well, take a look at the map and see where Detroit, Michigan is, and then go up that little bit of a jog down from Canada about an hour. I'm an hour from Detroit. So, how is it in your part of the world right now? Today is a very, very chilly, rainy day. So I wanted to snuggle up in something warm. Actually, what I wanted to do was take a couple of pictures to show you the big tree in my yard and the colors that it is changing. And I also have a burning bush in my front yard, but it is too cold to venture out and take some pictures. So if I get out before I publish this video, I'll put some pictures right here to show you. Otherwise, I might have to show you next week. So let's start with, what am I wearing? Well, I am wearing a plain infinity scarf that I made a couple years ago. There's nothing fancy about it. This is off my own hook. I just did lace all around, open work, and every so often I would put in a solid row. And there was no rhyme or reason to how often I put in a solid row, just whenever I felt like it. And I made this as long as I could go with the yarn I had. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then when I was all done, I seamed it up, and that's at the back. So it's one I've had for a while. It's not any published pattern. I just wanted to find a way to make use of some yarn I had. And the yarn I'm talking about is Malabrigo yarn. You know, I've had it before, and I have it in sock weight mostly, although I have a little bit of worsted weight as well. But this happened to be in lace weight. And I bought a number of skeins of it, I believe from Webs. If you go online and look up Webs, WBS, or I think it's yarn.com, they have all kinds of yarn. And at the time, I wanted to try the Malabrigo in the various colors. This color card I'm holding, I think goes, yes, I think it goes with this one. I think this is the one called Hollyhock, and the number is 148. I don't know what color this was. I just wanted to see it, how far it would go. Because it is lace weight, it has, I believe it's 470 yards in a skein. But lace weight is very fine. And I had never stitched with anything that fine, so I actually doubled it up. And it made a very nice weight, easy to work with. And I just made this scarf to see how much I would get out of a ball. Now, I haven't used this in quite a while. It keeps getting shoved to the corner, and I keep wanting to make things with it because I have quite a few colors. And I was thinking of combining some of the colors, like this, for example. Here's 3 colors that I have. And I thought I could do solid two strands of this, and then do a strand of this and a strand of this together, and then 2 of this, and then 1 of this and 1 of this, and then 2 of this. I thought it would make an interesting look. Maybe in a scarf. I think I'm going to start wearing a few more scarves such as this. I really wanted to put on a nice chunky DK weight asymmetrical scarf today, but I didn't dig one up. But anyway, I made this a while ago, and it is very, very soft. It says it's 100% baby merino. It's a little softer than some merino, and I really like it. And like I said, I have combinations of 3 colors. I have like Here's another combination I have. And I have another 3 back there. So I must dig them out and find something to make with them, because they feel very soft, and by doubling them up, the lace weight isn't a problem. But that's what this was made out of several years ago. And I'm going to go back in my stash for one more project, and that is what Faith is wearing today. And this is a scarf that I'm almost sure this is the pattern on the Lion brand ball band for this yarn. I won't swear to it. It might just be in Lion brand's pattern selections, but this is the Lion brand. I'm sure you're familiar with this because they show it on the shawl and the ball cake, that changes from this color back out again. And I've used this color a few times, and I wish I could remember, is it orchid or something like that? Anyhow, it's purples and greens and teals and pinks. And this is sort of a V shape, but it's wider here as well. And so that is what Faith is wearing. And again, is Lion brand shawl and a ball, which I'm quite sure most of you are familiar with. And this is a very open, lacy pattern. So we'll put that on her. And move her out of the way. And then I'm proud to say I actually have some finished objects this week. First of all, as you know, I was working on a tester pattern for Karen Hooley, and I finished the actual stitching. I think it was last Friday. It took me till Friday to finish it, and it is right now being blocked on the floor. That's where I block them on the floor in the spare bedroom and close the door. And when I finished it, I decided to make a shawl. And I was really excited because my friend and I, who have been donating different places, have been having trouble finding a place to donate. And last week we finally found a seniors residence that's only a few blocks from me that is excited to receive some things we have. So we took some shawls and some afghans, and they would take lapghans as well. And that kind of put new energy into us to want to make a bunch of shawls, because I think they're going to use these as Christmas gifts for the residents. So I want to get as many made as I can before Christmas. So I came home and I went through my stash and I pulled out this really pretty sparkly yarn to make this. It's called a crescent shawl, and you can see it goes a long way out here, and it's a pattern by Fiber Spider. Now let me take it off of Faith here. And what I liked about the idea was it's not really deep, so you're not sitting on a point, but it goes out quite a ways, which means you can wrap it around you. It has a very long wing, I guess you could say, that could fold over your shoulder and more likely to stay on. I mean, Craig Fiber Spider talks about that. But what I didn't care for is it seems to pull at the top. I think if I ever made it again, which in all likelihood I won't, I would find a way to make the top part looser across here. And I wasn't crazy for this, but sometimes that's nice. It makes a little bit of a collar. And then it goes out quite far. And he cautioned you, it is very wide and not deep. Now, I have not blocked this yet. And when I block it, I'm hoping I can take care of this pulling at the top. And the other thing is, I'm hoping blocking it, getting it wet and blocking it will make this a wee bit softer, because I thought it was so pretty I don't know if you can tell. It has sparkle. Yeah, I think you see that bit of sparkling throughout it. And I thought it would be very pretty. I only had one cake of it. It was 800 meters, and it was more than enough because I didn't use the whole of the cake. I could have put on, oh, maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 5 more rows. Now, the yarn I used is from Ice Yarns. I think the one I had said Kartopu, but it is the same yarn. And does it have a name? It just says Cakes Wool Glitter. And it is 800 meters, 10% Lincoln long wool. Don't know what that is. 24% wool and 62% acrylic, and then 4% metallic. Can you see? Now, I like this color a little better. I wish I'd made it out of this color instead. And when I'm holding it and feeling it, it feels very nice and very soft. But then when I was making it, it didn't feel so soft. So I'm wondering if I wash it, like put it in some water, it'll oftentimes different yarns will soften up. So I will do that to try and block it before I give it to them, and hopefully it'll soften up. If it softens up, then I will definitely use this one. But if it doesn't, I'm going to be putting this in a mystery box or a giveaway at some point. So that is the other thing I finished. Like I said, I finished the tester shawl, and she just said she's not releasing that pattern until April. I think she said the second week of April. So that's when I can show you that pattern. Then I finished this. And then yesterday, which is early in the week, I'm videotaping early this week, I got started on another shawl. I'm full of excitement to get lots of shawls made for the ladies at this nursing place. And I don't have the shawl down here to show you. I'm going to talk about it next week a little bit and have something else to show you. But all I wanted to show you, this is my whip for the week. I started it yesterday, and I am using this yarn from Northern Lights. I'm sure a number of you have used Northern Lights before. It is a James C. Brett yarn, and it does come from the UK. I might have ordered it from Wool Warehouse, and there's another place in the UK that I order from as well. It feels very soft. It has 492 yards in a cake. I had a purple version of this. I have made a shawl on this before in purple. You would have seen it a long time ago. And I have to tell you that I think it's like a number 2. Not quite thick enough to be a number 3. A very light 3 if it is a 3. And you can see it says there 95% premium acrylic, 5% viscose. Whoops. Viscose would be the flex that you see there. Very soft. So next week I'll have that done to show you for sure, because I'm quite excited to get as many shawls done as I can before Christmas, because we said we would be back just before Christmas with a big batch of shawls for them. So that's what we've been wearing or doing. Now, I have a number of acquisitions to show you, and I'm kind of excited about what I have to show you. First of all, you remember last week I went to show you some furls hooks, and they weren't the furls hooks I was expecting. But Monday this week, I got my next furls order in the mail. Now, I didn't bring the box down. I didn't bring the box down to open the whole box and everything this time. I just kept the part in the middle, which is the part that's wrapped with the hooks. And once again, as you unwrap it, you get one box, then the next box, and you unwrap a little more, and altogether we have 4 hooks. Now, this is kind of an interesting story. Get that paper out of the way. You don't want to hear that. I bought these because they were having a sale on them, and I thought that these would make good gifts in giveaways, in prizes. So it's called the Cafe, and I'm going to show you all 4 of them, and then I'll tell you what happened when I bought it. So here it is, Cafe. And this, as you can see, is a G, which is a 4.0. Okay? Now, these are all cafes, but they will not all look the same. I hope they have one that looks like the one I have upstairs to show you a big difference between these two. Now, this one is an I, which is a 5.5. Already you can see a difference there. There is more of the white, which would be like the cream. See, this one is darker. This one has more white in it. The next one, I think I got a, this is a K, which is a 6.5. Somewhat similar. But see it coming up the body there? And finally, I hope this one's a 4.5 or a 5. Oh, that's a 5.5. So hopefully I have a 5 here. I got 2 4s. Must have been all that was available. But look at this one. It's much different at the top. See, it's got a lot more white. Now, the one I have has a lot more white in it than any of these have. But you can see every single one of these is a wee bit different, how the resin is poured into the mold. So there are 2 number 4s, a 5.5, and a 6.5. I would like to have gotten a 5 and a 6, but obviously they didn't have them. But like, I had the feeling when I finally got there, they had been picked over. Now here's the funny story and the reason why I got them. If you bought 1 hook, you could get the second hook. They're $24 for a hook. And if you bought 1 hook, you could get the second hook for 96 cents or something like that, 90 some cents. And I thought, well, it's basically like buy 1, get 1 free. So they're each half price. So $25 for 2, that's $12.50 each. So that is a very good deal, $12.50 for a furls hook. So I put 1 in, and then I put another 1 in, and same thing happened for each. I bought 1, got 1 for $1. Bought 1, got 1 for $1. But I went back and looked at my letter, and it said, you can buy 2 with the right code, buy 2 and get 3 free. I thought, well, I better go back then and put in a different code, and then I can pick 1 more hook to put with this. Well, guess what? You really got to be watching, because Furls is one of those companies that already has a pre-agreement with the Canadian government. Lion Brand is another one, that they will charge us the taxes, the GST that we normally pay on sales goods up here. They will charge it there at the source and put it into the shipping, and then it won't get stopped at customs. And that's why they can send it UPS or FedEx, whichever one they're using, and Lion Brand the same. And I never have to worry about stopping at the border, which is a good thing. I do have to pay the GST, and if you're just sending by mail, it's hit and miss whether I have to. But here's the interesting thing. When I put 2 single ones in with the code, I got the other two $1 a piece. Free, basically. But when and the shipping, they had a tax on it. Shipping charge was somewhere around $7 and something. And then my GST, which was, I don't know, 17 or whatever dollars it was. It wasn't very high, maybe $12. Yeah, I think it was around $12. But when I put one more hook in my cart, used the other code, I got 2 with 3 free. So it was $2 less in the product. But in the shipping, it went from the tax of $8 or $9, and no, sorry, the shipping of about $8, and the tax jumped all the way up to $27. So my total in shipping was going to be $33 or $34 instead of, might have been more, because what I figured out was the weight of one more took it up enough that I was basically paying for that hook. It was $24 and change more in the shipping cost for 5 versus 4. So I said, I'm not paying that much for shipping. I'm paying for the price of a hook. I'm not really getting that 5th hook free, because I'm ending up paying it. It was more than I really wanted to spend. So I backed off and I bought one, get one for 96. Bought one, get one for 96. And it worked out to be very reasonable because the shipping came way down. And I think my total in Canadian funds was, somewhere around maybe $90, 89 or 92, I don't know. Which means each hook costs about $22, $23, which is a good price on a furls. Darn it. Oh, you're lucky that didn't break. Which is a good price on a furls, because they're usually 24 US, which with our exchange is very high right now. We're at 40%, I think. So anyway, I have these 4 furls hooks, and I'm going to put them back in their boxes and keep them, because my whole intent for buying these was to give you an opportunity to try a furls hooks. So they are going to be in future giveaways. They won't all probably go out at the same time. Which brings me to another point. If you've been watching, just before I tape this, my number of subscribers was 498 subscribers. So I'm pretty sure that by the time this video is actually released later this week, I'll probably be over 500. And so when I'm over 500, so that means next week, I'll be putting together a giveaway. I'm not sure if I'm going to show everything or make it a mystery giveaway. I think I'll put a hook in it along with something else. And I have to say, my subscriber list jumped. Oh, it jumped over 20 in the last couple of days. And I have to, a big shout out, thank you to Debbie, the Canadian crocheter, because she happened to mention me on her video on Monday this week and put a link to my site, or to my YouTube channel, in her description box. And ever since then, I've had more subscribers. So I have to think it's because Debbie mentioned me. And I super really appreciate that, Debbie. Thank you so much. I'm going to get over my 500 in the next couple of days. So next week, we'll talk about a giveaway. So that's the furls hook story finally finished between last week and this week. So now we want to talk about yarn. What yarn do I have? And this is going to be, I think it's going to be interesting. The first one is just a small one. I saw Crystal talk about this yarn on one of her videos recently, and it is what they call heritage, or it's old yarn. It's yarn from, I don't know how old, how far back, but it's a Karen Dazzle. I don't think that's a price on it. Hers, one of them had a price. I've never seen Karen with a label like that. But what interested me was she said it was very soft, and it is. It's called Soft and Bright, and it is, you know, they're different in the old days. It's 4-ply, but it doesn't say what's in it. Oh, here it is. 40% Crestland and 60% Crestland and 40% nylon. Anyway, she had several colors, but the one I really liked was the Sunrise, and it's very soft. And what I was thinking is there's going to be some babies in our family in the spring. Somebody's having twins, and I thought, wow, this is very neutral, just a baby color, and it is very, very soft. And I found it in a listing on eBay. I don't go on eBay anymore, but she says they had them, and I was able to get 8 skeins of this, although I don't know how much is in a skein. That's what I mean. It says 3 ounces, but that doesn't tell me how much yardage, and I'd really like to know. But I'm thinking with 8 of these, 4 should make a baby blanket, and I'll be able to make 2 matching baby blankets. Maybe I'll make them with different stitches. I'm not sure right yet. I'm going to wait till the new year to make them. They're not due until March. So that'll be one of my New Year's projects. I just wanted to show it to you, and maybe you buy heritage, they call it heritage yarns online. I don't know. But it was a good deal. I got a very good deal because they were listed and I could make an offer, and he accepted my offer, and I made a low offer because the shipping was terrible. Okay, other yarn I want to show you. I don't normally, I have the heater on. It's really cold down here, and I'm going to flip it off. I don't normally show you all the yarn. I do order a lot of yarn from EFA, Expression Fiber Arts. But they had some really neat yarns. I don't know, beginning of the month, maybe it was even in September. And they all arrived just this morning. So I thought I would show them to you. Just mainly because they were really interesting names. So there are 5 skeins in this package. Normally I order 6, but I wasn't sure I wanted 2 of one of them. And the interesting thing was she was talking about, what do you call a group of different kinds of birds? Like, you know, you say a pack of wolves and a herd of cattle. Well, she was talking about birds. And they have some very interesting names. So I'm going to start with this one at this end. And it's called A Murder of Crows. Maybe you've heard this before. I might have heard the crows one, but not the others. So here's A Murder of Crows. And that was the color that she came up with for crows. Our crows are much, much blacker. But isn't that beautiful? By the way, these are all pearlescent fingering. And pearlescent fingering is 50% mulberry silk and 50% merino. And there is 550 yards in every skein. And at one time it was my very favorite yarn. I still love the yarn, but they've come out with a few others I like just a wee bit more. But anyway, it's still a lovely yarn. I'm not going to unravel it so you can see all the colors. I think you get a pretty good idea of it. I really, really like it. One day, I would like to make a sweater in pearlescent fingering. But anyway, I got 2 of those. A Murder of Crows. Now, what do you think they call magpies? They call them a mischief, a mischief of magpies. I guess that's kind of fitting. And one has a little more pink in it, the other, and it could just be the way that it is hanked up. There's pink in there, but there's definitely more of a pink color in this one. But my purples and pinks, but not the same. This is a little more blue. This is purple and pink, but oh, so silky soft. And the last one, I only got one because I wasn't sure if I'd like it. Now I really wish I had gotten two. And this is a conspiracy of ravens. And isn't that beautiful? And I could see a shawl in this. 550 is, well, you know what? It would make a smaller shawl that I could wear front on. And this is so pretty. I really, really like it. So I was happy with all three. They had one other, and it was an owl. And what do they call owls? A conspiracy of owls? No, that's conspiracy of ravens. I forget what they called the owls, but it was greens and golds. I was afraid of too much yellow in it. Now, maybe I should have got it, but it's still available on their website, I believe. Beautiful yarn. I really, really like it. And the colors are all gorgeous. So that's that. Now, the other thing I got, which I had hoped would be here last week and wasn't here in time for me to show you last week, it came that day or the next day. I think it came the next day. And I'm really excited to show this to you. It's something new I just found, and it's something we're going to kind of do together. Here it is. It came in a box, so you can see the yarns in it. Biscotti yarns. And I found this on Etsy. I will link it in the description box below. And notice that it says that it is the Unpredictable Shawl Knitting Game. You're saying, well, you don't knit, Judy. Why'd you get it? Well, that was the beauty of it. She offered the opportunity to get a crochet instead of a knitting pattern. So this is how, I love how they put it together and how they've marketed it. They have this listing with, I'm going to say, I will link it in the description box below, but I think they had 5 different color packages. And then you were to tell them, did you want a crochet or did you want a knitting pattern? Now, I'm going to show you the yarn, and then we're going to do something a little different. Okay, so here are the 6 skeins of yarn that come in this particular choice. They had other colors, and every single one of these is the same. It is 85-15, so 85 merino, 15 nylon, one of my favorite combinations. And it feels very nice. Feels very, very nice. And each of these has 200 meters, so it's a 50-gram skein. So it's like half a skein. So I have the equivalent here of 3 skeins. So I'll show you the colors individually. Okay, I really, really like that color. I don't see that they've put any kind of color names on these. Here's the next one. It's gray, but it has sort of that color in it. Anyway, I really, really like that. And then we have this one. I like that teal too. I'm starting to like teal more and more. And the next one is gray again, but it has the teal in it. Let's see where you can see the teal. So it goes well with this one. Then we have another one that's red, but it's not the same color of red, and it has dark, well, actually they're combining the red and teal, right? But it's got other lighter, like that's almost purple, and they got an almost pinky color here. And finally, they have a sort of two-tone gray. You see, it's a tealy color running through there in the gray. Get it where it looks about how it looks to me. See, the teal is bright teal on the screen, but it looks almost gray rather than teal to me. Okay? So those are the 6 skeins you get in this box. But it's more than just a box of yarn. So I have to go and cake these up, and then I'll be back. So, are you still here? Are you waiting and wondering? Well, here they are, all caked up. Now you're wondering, why did you have to wait for me to cake them up? Well, here's the deal. There are 6 skeins of yarn. And besides a whole lot of literature, here's some information about biscotti, lots of cards, and so on. I also got in this package the pattern, which I can't show you, but you can see a picture of somebody that finished this pattern, but mine won't look like that, okay? But that's how it ended up for somebody that did this pattern. And there is a beginning base. This will be, I don't know if you could tell from the pattern, but this will be an asymmetrical triangle. So I have to start with what they call the introduction to the stitch pattern, and it'll be the base point working out, and it has 16 rows. But then the pattern has 6 more sections. Talk about that in a minute. 6 sections of patterns, 6 sections of, 6 cakes of yarn. And it comes with dice, a pair of dice. One is green, and one is blue. And it comes with 6 tags that I am supposed to put on the yarn. And I'm going to put them on the yarn right now. They come with a tag to put them on. I have my clips on them. So for today, I'm just going to slide them on the clips. Now, it doesn't really matter what number goes on what cake, and you'll see why in a minute. So I've decided that that's number 6. And this one is number 2. I'll put them on a little better later when you're all not sitting there waiting for me to be done. This is number 4. This is number 1. This is number 5. I might move them around. They'll probably get switched. I would really like to put 6 on that other one, but okay, who doesn't have a label? This one is number 3. Okay, so here's the deal. They say the small and larger die. Well, these are the same. So I'm going to say the blue and the green. The blue die will represent the yarn. Blue for yarn. Green will represent the pattern. Okay? Now, this is what you're supposed to do. And this is how you get a one-of-a-kind scarf. I take these dice and I roll them. And I got a pair of 6s. So that means I'll use number 6 in the threads. And there's number 6 in the yarn. I will use that along with number 6. And I'm just going to show you so you can see. See, they have the picture of the dice by the pattern you're supposed to do. So when I roll that, it means the next section I'm going to do will be this color with that part of the pattern. And every time you do a section, and I look through it, and it looks like the base is 16. If you roll 1, it's 1 to 16. 1 to 16. This one only goes row 7 to 12. So that only has 12 in it. Number 4 has 16. Number 5 has 6. They all have 16 except one section has 12 rows. They must have worked it out so the numbers are good for moving on. So it tells me that I have to do the introduction stitch pattern, which is the very beginning that starts with 1 stitch and increases to start my V. And then once I get the introduction done, from then on, I roll the dice. Excuse me. And this time I got 5 and 6. Next time I get 2 and 3. 3 in blue, 2 in green. So that tells me number 3 in the yarn and number 2 in the stitch pattern. So I think this will be a lot of fun to see what comes. They say sometimes you'll get the same color twice in a row. It says if you end up using up one of the colors before you're done, that if you roll, say I used up, whatever this is, number 5. I was out of number 5 and 5 came up. Well, I would just roll again. Now, what I want to do is to keep you involved in the process. So I've already decided that I'm going to do the introduction for next week, and I'm going to pick the color for that once I see what the second part is. But then I'm going to do the first section, and I'm going to always, every week, roll it here on the video with you. And I will tell you the numbers I got, and I will tell you the color I got, and I'll tell you the name, but I can't tell you what the stitch pattern is. And every week I'll show you what I finished in that time. So I don't know exactly how many sections are in it. I tried to count it in her picture. It looked to me like 16 or 17, but you can go until you run out of yarn, basically. So I noticed that there are 10 weeks left to the end of the year, and I'd like to finish this by the end of the year. So this week I'm going to do the introductory and the first time. Next week I will roll section 2 and section 3, or the second of my scarf and the third of my scarf. And the reason I'm doing that first is to involve you so you can see how it goes as we're going. I know you can't see what I'm rolling, but I will be honest in showing you the numbers. But I thought this would be better because if I did it on my own, I'd have a tendency to look at the scarf and say, oh, I don't know that I want that color next to that color, and I would change it. And I want to do it with you to keep me honest. So I'm thinking that I might do 2 sections each week. If I find towards the end, I'll probably only do 1 section each the last few weeks, because they will get, as you know, they will get wider. And I want to be sure to do what we planned on the video for the next week. So I already know I'm going to do the intro base, what they call the base, and I'm going to do section 1. So right off the bat, I'm going to roll these numbers, and in blue, I get 2. 2 is this teal. See, I put a 2 on it. So after I do the base, I'm going to do this color, number 2. And it says I will do pattern 6. So I'll put here pattern 6. So I'll have to go on my paperwork and find number 6. Now, because of that, this first time, I'm going to make it match. I'm going to start with the base triangle being this because they go together. They have the same colors in them. Okay, so I'm going to start with number 6. Intro number 6. So I will have the first introductory point, the base point, and the next section done for next week. And then we will roll the dice and see what I'm doing for the next 2 sections of my scarf. And I thought that would be a kind of fun thing to do. And the other thing is, I want to encourage you. You could get any pattern out there that you like and just divide it into sections. Or even not roll a die for the pattern. Just do the pattern as it's written, but find maybe 4 different colors or 6 different colors. 6 would be ideal in your stash. And just decide that every section will be 10 rows long or 15 rows long. Take how big it is and divide it down. And maybe you can play along with me when I roll the dice and pick a color, number 4. You have yours labeled and you pick number 4 to do for the next week. I'd like to encourage you to play along with me, but if not, at least I hope this will keep you interested in the development of my asymmetrical triangle, which is the unpredictable shawl game. And after I do this, I think I might do it again because I do have the pattern and I can pick anything from my stash and do it again, another 6 colors. I might actually try to do it in a DK weight and put together a bunch of my sparkles for it in the future, and it won't be quite as long. But anyway, that's what I got this past week. I had never seen anything like it, and I was very excited to get it and to show you. So I hope you enjoy playing along with me, and I'm going to keep these dice in a bag, a good-sized bag, so I don't lose them because I have lots of dice, but they aren't colored. Excuse me. So that's everything for this week. I hope you enjoyed what I had to show you. And I believe I have some yarn coming in the mail. I found another new company just yesterday or the day before that I think I'm going to make an order from. And they're in Montreal, so I'm pretty sure the yarn will be here before next week. Remember, next week is the 27th of October, and I'm going to do the slideshow or whatever you want to call it, showing your projects. So you still have a few days up until about next Tuesday to send me pictures of things you have finished. I had 2 more people send me something this past week, and I'd love to have a couple more. But however many we have, we're going to do the slideshow of your work next week, your projects. I'm really looking forward to what you've done. What I've seen so far is lovely, and I can't wait to share it with you. So that's what's in the plans for next week, as well as more FOs, how this goes before next week, and some more yarn. So until then, happy hooking.